Hi everyone, we're back. As promised, today I'm going to be working with some ashes. So, special guest today, my mum. I've retrieved some ashes just in a small shot glass. And what I used, I had this mica spoon, which is ideal. Just be very careful, obviously, if you're working with ashes, be very respectful. You don't want to spill any, you don't want to waste any. Any that's left in the cup, I'll just obviously put back into Mum's urn. So we're going to move Mum aside, she can watch from the distance. So what we're going to do this in a couple of stages. So we're going to encapsulate the ashes into a small heart, and then we're going to use that heart inside one of the bigger ones, and then we're going to add some, what I'll probably use is some gold and silver metallics. So I've mixed a small amount of resin already. That's just the bubbles that just come into the surface. Let's get rid of my scales. So what we want to do is just pour some of the resin, let's take you down, into the small heart. If I've got enough, I might make two and then do two different styles, which I think I have. There's just a small amount in there, don't fill it up, because obviously we're going to add some ashes. So we're going to get our little spoon, just going to give it a quick blast with my torch just to get away any bubbles. Then we're just going to scoop carefully into the mould. And what I'll do with these, I'll probably give them to my sister. I did make her one before. But I used dried flowers. And it was this kind of size. I didn't encapsulate with that. So obviously I'll put these back in, but we're just going to see how. I'm going to need a cocktail stick for this. Just take you down further. Then we're just going to gently manipulate the ashes down into the resin. Try not to make a mess. And the important thing is just to keep stirring. So that any air comes out, any bubbles, and that all of the ashes are coated with resin. I've just done some pendants for a friend. You may have seen the pictures in the Let's Resin group. Obviously my friend had seen the pictures before I shared them, so just bear in mind you don't want other people to see the work before the client, really. Doesn't matter, you're going to get some shrinkage, but it won't matter as long as it's full up enough to see the heart. It doesn't matter if there's a dip in the back, because we're going to be encapsulating that anyway, so you won't see that. So we have enough in both of these. My storage, just I had to restart the video from where it stopped because my storage is full, so I've just had to delete some other tutorials. So I'm just going to agitate these again just to make sure. Right, so I'm happy with that. We're going to come back when it's all set and we're going to move on to stage 2. See you soon. Right, so the ashes have now cured. Let me take you down and we'll move on to the next part. Let me get my focus. That's one. And that's the other one. So I'm going to take you back out. I've pre-mixed some resin. We're going to be using these two heart-shaped molds here. And before I carry on, I've now got merchandise in the store, so head on over there. I don't know if some of you have seen, or I know a lot of you have seen some of my macro photography shots of my work. So most of it, I'm just shaking these inks, hold on, babbling on. Yeah, so some of the macro shots are now available on things like mugs, t-shirts. I've got some small posters, so head on over and have a look after the video. Right, so like I said, I've got my resin pre-mixed, so I'm gonna, not too much because we need to add the hearts, and then we can top up if we need to once we've added the hearts. And the tricky thing is with this is to get the hearts exactly lined up. We don't want them off center. I use that resin for something else. So we're just going to pop the heart in. To each one. And then we're going to use a cocktail stick. And what we're going to do is just move the heart from side to side, just to make sure there's no bubbles stuck to the front of the heart. It's a case of getting the heart lined up with the outer larger heart. What I'd suggest to you, if you're thinking about doing something like this, I was going to do the tutorial with sand, but if you're going to start trying and attempting working with ashes, definitely practice with sand to begin with, because you really don't want to go wrong with something like this. I don't want hundreds of you coming at me saying I followed your tutorial and I ruined it with ashes, you know. Just practice first, guys. I'm just going to give it a tap blast just to get rid of any surface bubbles, and then we're going to top it up a little bit. Now I'm going to top this up as much as I can, because the metallics really can shrink the resin down. I mean, you can always top it up afterwards, but if you're going to top it up, don't demold it. Keep it in there, then top it up. Because if you demold it and then try and put it back in and then top it up and it overspills, you're going to have a problem. It will leak down the sides, and when you come to demolding it again, you'll have a weird pattern on the front. We're just going to make sure these are definitely lined up. As best we can. That will do. So now we're going to start adding some metallics. So I've got a gold. These are fluids. I'll put the links in the description. You click the little arrow below the video and that will take you to the description. So we've got the gold and we've got the silver mine. You really do need to shake these. They've got ball bearings inside the bottles. And then again we're going to use the Let's Resin C White Deeper. Again, it's the bigger bottles. Just put into this. I'll give that a shake too. I think what I do is I do this one silver and this one gold. I have mixed the two together before, and they've come out really well mixed together. So these can sink as well to the surface, but they tend to spread on the back really. So a couple of drops of the silver. A couple of drops of the gold. You'll see it just completely take over. It's sparkling away. See, the silver's almost settled down now. And it's quite tricky working with the metallics. It can be quite tricky. So now what we're going to do is use the white, and we're just going to drop over the back of the metallics. And then we're just going to very carefully agitate the white and the gold and the white and the silver together. And I mean just the surface, because if you go too far down, you're going to move that heart. Right, so that's that part done. And then we're going to come back again, as I normally do, in about an hour, and very carefully just kind of work the surface under the surface of the resin to just try and work that metallic down a little bit further into the resin. Right, I'll see you shortly. Right, so it's been about an hour, and we're just gonna try and work some of the metallic into the surface of the resin, but not going too deep so that we're going to disturb that heart. That's the silver one done. That's the gold one. And what I did was with the leftover resin, just to show you what it looks like with the silver and the gold mixed together. Obviously there's no ashes in this one, but it's just as an example. Right, so that's that. We're gonna now wait for the demold, and then I'm gonna show you how I turn these into necklaces as lovely keepsakes. See you soon. So we're back for the final stage. We're gonna demold these. These have had a day to cure. So we're gonna demold them, and then I'll show you what I do to turn them into necklaces. So I mean, the good thing about these metallics and the white is that they won't bleach in the sun. I mean, you could use other alcohol inks, but I wouldn't recommend it because they don't hold up very well with the UV light. So they can bleach and fade over time. You can, I've done some with, let me just pause the video and I'll go and grab them and show you. If you follow my pigment paste tutorials, you can get some really nice colours using pigment pastes. So let's crack on. This is the one with just the silver. That's really pretty. See, none of it's sunk. Some really nice shiny silver pigments there. and the heart is lined up, which is really good. Now for the gold. It's predominantly white, but you can see some gold speckles, probably difficult to see on the video. Try and see if I can get a closer up if it will focus. So you really do need to work that gold in. You could even add some gold flake. So again, that's lined up pretty well. Let's see what the mixed one. This was just leftover resin. The silver's mainly in the background. See how some of the gold has come to the surface, but it's still cool. Still make a nice pendant. Get a little bit on the back there, you can just peel that off. So we're just going to move this aside. We've got my little hand drill. And you've probably seen on one of my other tutorials where I've shown how to make these pendants. But what I'll do is I'll take you a little bit further down. The trick is, again with these, don't drill in from the front because you're at risk of slipping. And we want to kind of get the drill through the top but not through the ashes. So we need to go fairly around about there, I'd say. And then just gently turn the hand drill until it's kind of on, and then we can watch the drill go through the resin and see how it's just clearing the ashes. Then it will just pop out the front. And then we go through the front. Whoops. Out the back. And we're just going to keep turning just to get any of that resin out of the hole. And then the same with the other one. You can't really see through the back of this one, so but I know where to go. Again, you'll see it just coming through the front of the heart. Give it a good turn. And we'll turn it around and go through the front, out the back. What I'll do is I'll just make one into a pendant just so you can see. So I've got my pinch bowl. I'm just going to open that up quite wide, and we're going to do the silver one, I think. So we're just going to pop one of the prongs in the back. You can use some resin on the prongs, but these are really, once they're in, I've got my pliers here. Just going to gently squeeze that together, and that's not going anywhere. And I like to use these Amberta necklaces. This one's a 20-inch. I've got these on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. And they're really good quality. I've been using these for a while. They don't tarnish easily, and the links are, I don't know if you can see it, but they're heart-shaped links as well. And they've got, these are sterling silver, so you've got your 925 stamp, and there's a nice little Amberta tag on there. We're just going to open that up, slide it through the bail, take you out a bit. And there you have it. stunning. You could get some sterling silver barrels if you wanted to. It's just what I had. So there you go. Ashes in pendants. You can do these with hair. I've done them before. You just put the hair into the original, but be careful with the colour of the hair and what background you use, because you want them to stand out, and certain colour hair can be tricky to work with. So right, again, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button down there, and I'll be working on my vibrant inks for the next tutorial. If you've seen those pictures in the resin groups on Facebook, let me grab one. Yeah, so I'll be showing you how to get this effect really colourful using alcohol inks. That tutorial hopefully should be up next week. Right, thanks for watching guys. See you for this one.